as always, in the name of Jesus. This video is my review of The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 16, Conquer. The Season 5 finale. Wow. That episode was awesome. Very awesome. So the episode opens up with Morgan. So great seeing him. Waking up after having slept in a abandoned car for who knows how long. And he looks around and smiles and looks around. He goes to make a pot of coffee, and he's besieged by a man who is holding him at gunpoint, and the man's wearing has a W on his forehead. He's probably a member of the Wolves, which is a TV show's version of the Scavengers. And he tells him, and he's planning on taking all of Morgan's possessions before killing him. And then another member of the Wolves comes out of nowhere to try and behead him, only for Morgan to try to knock them both out with his staff. That was a very awesome moment. A very awesome moment. So then we go to the title credits, and then we go back, and then we see Rick waking up after his brawl with Pete. Michonne has been watching over him. They just have then Glenn and Carol enter, and before that happens, Michonne tells him that Deanna's having a meeting about what to do with Rick, and then he's encouraged to come to give his side of the story. And then Glenn and Carol enter, and tell him Pete's recovering in another house. Carol Carol covers herself, asking why Rick took the guns from the armory. Bridge is pretty much lying on Carol's part, it doesn't endear me to her at all. Although he's confused, and then it just kind of disgusted me that Carol just said that the people at the Alexandria Safezone are easily placated children. So that kind of did not endear me to her at all, to Carol at all. So also Maggie stands up for Rick here and says that and I really, really like that a lot. Elsewhere, also Daryl and Aaron stop their vehicles, and they are close and continue to look for other survivors. They see a man wearing a red poncho, but Daryl thinks the guy was making himself a huge target. So elsewhere, they go through they see canned food, and they cleared out the walkers at the locked front gate. And they go inside, and then all of a sudden they see 4 trucks, and the backs of the trucks open, and there are walkers everywhere. And then they go out, kill them, they run as fast as they can, they get back into the van, they wait there, talk there for a few minutes, and then before you know it, they try to go back out, when all of a sudden they have help from Morgan. They're offing walkers, everything. And everything. Then Morgan tells them that he's heading off to DC and gives them the map that Abraham gave him. And they see that, and then they take him up to the Alexandria Safezone. And then she gives him, Rick wakes up again. He sees Carol standing over him. She gives him his gun back and tells him, you know what? But else finding out the guns, and Rick says he didn't want to lie, and also he says Rick admits that he deserved to be knocked out by Michonne. I really think that was a good thing on Rick's. Good that Rick was admitting that. And then also we go to Maggie meets Glenn, tells him about Deanna's reaction, and promises to make things work. And Nicholas, I need to mention this first. Glenn sees Nicholas scaling the town walls and follows. They go out there, they brawl, and fight. Nicholas tries to kill him, probably tries to shoot at him, sends 3 walkers on him, and then runs. Glenn takes them out. They brawl again, to the point where Glenn has Nicholas at gunpoint, and Glenn decides not to kill him, and he carries him all the way back to Alexandria Safezone. That's his arc. So, meanwhile, Abraham visits Eugene and Rosita, and Eugene apologizes to them both, which goes a long way, helps him become more likable. And then we also see meanwhile Gabriel sees a lone walker, tries intending to die, but he changes his mind and kills one of them, which is cool. He gets his first kill. And then he returns back to the safe zone. He walks back to the town. Spencer tells him to close the door. He doesn't. And I was like, when I was watching that episode, I was like, Gabriel, anybody who dies via the walkers that come through that door are on you. That was my thoughts on that. And then also at the meeting, Michonne appears before Rick before the meeting and acts as he's up for it. He tells her about the guns and how him and Carol got the guns and moves to give her one. She tells him to keep it and that she's going to follow him regardless. And Rick remembers a speech from Bob from the 2nd episode of the season, Strangers. Is good. And then during the meeting, we see Maggie, Michonne, and Abraham stand up for Rick. And Maggie stand up for Rick, and while doing so, she mentions her father. I'm glad that Maggie mentioned her. So, that was good. Meanwhile, Rick notices that walkers have invaded through the building, entered into the safe zone thanks to Gabriel. He kills them. He kills all 3 of them. And speaking of Gabriel goes to the church. Sasha goes there. It gets to the point where Gabriel has Sasha at gunpoint, and then Maggie stops him from killing anyone, from killing her. So, and then meanwhile, Maggie's having Rick gets to the meeting and says to them that there are 3 walkers that invaded the place, and then he talks about them that they need to get to adjust and that they need to be prepared for the things that are outside. And then meanwhile, Maggie, Sasha, and Gabriel are praying, and then all of a sudden Pete comes out with Michonne's katana. Reg, Deanna's wife, comes forward, and then Pete murders him. Rick grabs a gun, and then Deanna gives him the say-so to kill him. Good stuff. And then before you know it, Rick and Morgan meet each other again, face to face. So good. In the scene after the credits, Michonne is about to put up her katana when she decides to just put it back into her sheath and put it on her back again, which means she's still going to use it. Good. And then way back, where the guy with the red poncho who was killed, we see graffiti saying "Wolves not far." So good. The wolves are going to be the main villains of the first half of season 6. This finale started out pretty slow, but then it picked up at the end. It was a very good episode. I have to give it a 9.6 out of 10. This season 5 has been amazing. This episode was amazing. It's a shame I have to wait. We have to wait 7 months for season 6 to get here. Alright, that's all for this video.